Hi, this is Anna Imagination with the Healing Garden. I'm not sure if today is going to be a recording day. It feels like it's going to be a recording day. So I just got done recording. Well, I did my soapbox speech and then I had a conundrum. So then I transferred my conundrum on over to like a Zoom and I just listened to it back and now I'm all pumped up and I'm like, I want to talk about this. So I have three facets to myself. We all have three facets to ourselves. And trying to get my message and my agenda and who and what I am all on the same page has been very, very difficult, very challenging for me because our society conditions us to only allow one. Okay, so this is the deconstruction of society. You have this full spectrum of all of you. We're going to call it as I am. Oh my God, I do love as I am. As I am is one of my high focal points that I talk on a lot. And as I am is literally the full spectrum of the self. And those are the official words for it, the full spectrum of the self. Now, we live in a society where the full spectrum is not allowed. We start off at life as the full, colorful spectrum, the rainbow. It's Pride Month. And by the time we are 4, we have been forced into binary, black and white, two-dimensional thinking, either or, dichotomy. And that literally is the de-evolution of the full spectrum of the self down to the binary world, two-dimensional thinking of either or. If you say one more time that we are third dimension moving into the fourth, I'm going to proverbial slap you with my speeches. And I will tell you why. Because we think way too two-dimensionally to even think we have the ego of being third dimensional. You don't get to be third dimensional until you think third dimensional. And if you're so busy going either or, you're two-dimensional. Now, the next de-evolution of two-dimensional is one-dimensional. That's living inside the point. We call that prejudicism. Do you understand the de-evolution of societal construct of the mind is when you go from full spectrum thinking of the self down to binary either or two-dimensional thinking down into the prejudiced mind of one. Intolerance. Do you see how we are literally de-evolving into death? You know what comes after 1? 0. We call this nothing. Or well, we call it nothing. We call it nothing. And that's literally what comes next. And I cannot explain this enough, that in the world of nothing, it is literally, when you study dichotomy, the absence of love. Love is the embodiment and the fulfillment of all. It is the force that moves us forward toward growth. Love is A. Not love. Dichotomy is not A. An absence of love. You don't need a placeholder. You just need to not have love. And the further you go toward that two-dimensional to 1 to 0, you have officially gotten yourself to a point of no love. You don't want to know what happens at the point of no love. When you get to the point of no love, where there is nothing, you have consumed all of fear. You have consumption. Your emotions possess you. You have the curse, where no matter what you eat, you will not be sated. No matter what you get, you will not feel fulfilled. No matter what you pursue, you will not have. There is no amount of money or wealth that you can obtain at the point of nothing that will satisfy you. You will live a life without satisfaction, and you will starve your ethical self to death. Literally, that is consumption. That is what life looks like without love. And that is the progression of love and that full spectrum of the self down to binary thinking. It's a breakdown. It's disintegration itself down into the 1, prejudicism. And after that, 0, nothing. That's where we're heading. Now, to reverse this, it's opening and expanding the mind so that you allow yourself to let in and bring in, take in love itself, which is the second ethic, self-authority, courage to move forward from the first ethic of that self-authority, of that courage, of that self-cocoon, opening up so that you can allow others in. It takes great courage to let others in. That's vulnerability, to open up yourself. When you open up yourself and you let others in, you abandon that one prejudice mindset. You abandon intolerance. You move up. You then enter a space of binary thinking, either or. This is the second ethical perspective. And then you learn how to self-regulate and open your mind further with self-regulation at the third ethic, which then steps you into the fourth ethic, which is self-boundary, self-law, self-government. Because when you start to self-govern, you start to open your mind, you start to expand it out further because of the second ethic, which is open to receive. And then you let others in. Narcissism is the destruction, the deconstruction of the self. It is breaking it down so that as the narcissist moves through you, it divides and conquers, divides and then conquers into nothing. We're going to say that one more time. It divides and conquers into nothing. That's what narcissism is doing. It's the literal progression toward nothing and full consumption. To get rid of this, walking through those 12 ethics, courage, vulnerability, and then expanding to self-regulation so that you can have your self-law, your self-government, so you can be accountable. By the time you get to accountability with the fifth ethic, you are so open that you are bringing people in. You are building your community. You are building your network. You are now integrating. And this is really what it is. It's literally the integration versus the disintegration. And we evolve. We do not stand still. There is no such thing as stagnation. The human mind does not stagnate. There is no such thing. If you are not growing, you are de-evolving. I learned this very, very early on in my youth that, interesting. If I go a week without learning something, I can literally feel myself shriveling up and decreasing because there is no standing still for the human being. That is not going to be an option for you. What you can do is learn to maintain, and now you're just keeping pace because physics says so. Third law of Newton. There he says for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. And if you are not building momentum forward to propel yourself forward with growth, which is love, the force, then you are disintegrating back into nothing. Because you can't stay still, because nothing on this planet is standing still. Not even the planet itself, it's standing still. We're propelling through the universe, which is one of the guiding forces that is moving you forward or shriveling you up and dying. We do it mentally. We do it physically. And you can choose to go with that force and move forward and propel through action, motivation, momentum, or you can choose to do nothing, which is actually the disintegration of the self into nothing. So when you sit back and you're asking yourself who you really are, where you want to go in life, that concept of the full spectrum of the self is all that matters. You are not one person. You are not one personality. You are 7 different people inside of your head. 7 parts of the mental system. And they're all talking to you. Absolutely. Everyone's is talking to them. And we're all going, oh my God, there's voices in my head, but we're not going to look at that. No. Oh, good God. Oh, good God. Look at them. Talk to them. They're you. They are absolutely you. If they're speaking to you in the third person, chances are that there's somebody else inside of your head, which is just the voices of your abusers. And it's literally that mimic, mirror, repetition response, reciprocity, where optic physics, where you just mimic and mirror something that somebody's put inside your head. But because they've mirrored and mimicked to you at the third person, you aren't, you don't, you have none, then it's going to go into your mind as the third person voice. So then it sticks there because that's how we learn, with that mimic, mirror, repetition response. So you can now sort out who you are, the I voice versus the you voice. And that's where you are. You are all the I's in your head. So when you think I want, I do, I could, I can't, that is you. The yous aren't you at all. Those are the invasive perspectives that have been put into you without your consent, without your even acknowledging it. So when you start to really step into what the subconscious mind is and how to use it, when you really start to break down all the different parts of you and how to manage it and what your role is supposed to be over your subconscious mind, game changes. The conscious awareness is the brain manager, the mind manager. That is what you're supposed to be doing, but no one ever taught you. No one ever taught you. You are supposed to be the mind manager of your subconscious mind because your subconscious mind is really bad at it. And it knows it. It's not what it's for. The subconscious mind is your self-preservation system. And your job, the conscious awareness, is supposed to be managing that system. But if you don't know your job, you're not going to do it. As a result, no one is doing their job. A lot of people are just letting the self-preservation system manage things. Self-preservation systems are not supposed to manage things. Self-preservation systems are supposed to self-preserve everything. It's like when you're watching Inside Out from Disney's Pixar and fear is in charge and fear is running all over going, oh my God, imagine if fear ran the council. Well, that's your mind. Fear is in charge. You don't want fear in charge. You don't want fear in charge. You really don't want fear in charge. Believe me. In fact, most of you, fear is in charge. And the ones who are having happy, abundant, successful lives, they went, oh, my fear system is not going to be in charge. I'm going to be in charge. Well, hello, conscious awareness. Now that's the right way. Conscious awareness is job. Conscious awareness's purpose is to self-manage your 7 people inside. You actually have 6 people inside of your head. Conscious awareness is the 7th, so you have 6 people inside of your head. Your 6 people are identity, intuition, self-preservation, fear, the defense system. That's right, I forgot my bargain. The defense system. There's a lot of like justice in that moment just now. And who am I missing? Who am I missing? I'm missing somebody. Who am I missing? Identity, intuition, self-preservation. Oh, wait, no. Identity, intuition, self-preservation. This is why I write everything down when I talk, so I can remember shit. I'm going to say the guilt system, but the guilt system is part of the self-preservation system. Oh, this is terrible. Who am I forgetting? Who am I forgetting? Let me write it all down because I can't live with myself right now. I cannot forget one of my people. One of my people. It's like, no, it's not conscious awareness. All right, so we have conscious awareness. We have identity. We have intuition. We have the subconscious mind, which is your logic. Okay, so I have a weird thing with my subconscious mind. I'll explain in a minute here. And then you got your fear system. Yeah, and then you've got your self-preservation system. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Fear system is part of your guilt system. Yep. Oh, defense. Defense. I have to sort out my subconscious mind, and I'll tell you why. There we go. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, yeah, I did have everybody there. Yeah, I did. No, I didn't. One, because the conscious awareness is being counted. Who am I missing? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, okay, it was my subconscious mind, my logic. Okay, so I refer to the subconscious mind as the logical system. And that is because it took me a long time to realize that the belief system and the logical system were the same thing. And the subconscious mind is very much in charge. When I think subconscious mind, there's no identity. That is the subconscious mind sitting in the corner, logically wrong. It's my Spock. It's literally running and operating the entire cognitive core with logical code. That is the subconscious mind. However, that is incorrect because the identity is part of the subconscious mind and self-preservation is part of this. So I never named my subconscious mind. I just generically called it the subconscious mind. So sometimes it gets confusing. So here are the 7 parts of your system: conscious awareness, identity, intuition, your logical Spock, your fear and your guilt system, same thing, your self-preservation and your defense system. These are 7 different things, 7 different people, 7 different, every thought you have in your head. Oh my God, I'm angry. Well, there's your defense talking. Oh my God, we need to be careful. Well, that's your self-preservation, which is very different from your fear system. And I will tell you why. Your fear system is absolutely consumed by consumption. Your fear system is incompatible with love. Your self-preservation system is pure love, completely different. Self-preservation is 100% part of your identity's love system. The fear system is not. That is the opposite of love. Fear is the opposite of love. It is no love, and it is incompatible. They are at a dichotomy. It's the dichotomy of good and evil is fear and love. So you cannot have all love and your fear system. Now you can have all love and your self-preservation system, which is why self-preservation and fear are not the same thing. Not at all. So you have your fear system, which is way over there, and it really, there's issues there. That's a whole thing. So your self-preservation system, your defense system, your logical system, your intuition, your identity, and your conscious awareness. That is what makes up your subconscious mind. And if you are not aware of all of the 7 parts and their purpose, their role, what to do, and how to discipline them, it's going to be a mess upstairs. In fact, in most of us, it's a mess upstairs. Most of us won't even talk to our subconscious mind. So they send out messages from the cognitive core going, warning, warning, this is what you need. This is what you need. Oh my God, an emotion. No, we don't want to ignore the emotions. The emotions are how all of these people communicate to you. They do not use English words. They do not use French words. They do not use Mandarin words. They use emotions to communicate because that's what they got. They use feelings, they use emotions, and they use intuition to communicate with you. And if you're not listening to all of those things in your head, you are going to have a serious communication issue, a real serious communication issue. So those are the people inside of your brain. They are amazing people. Say hello, give them names. They really need to have names. They really need to have names. And I will tell you why. Because when you name them, you can see them. And when you see them, when you name them, you know them. And suddenly you know who you are. Because you've met the rest of you. They're there whether you like it or not. They're talking to you all the time. You just can't tell the difference between all the voices because you haven't said hello. Fear is actually fear of the unknown, which is actually fear of the unknown self, which is actually, I don't know who I am under these circumstances. What if I'm a bad person? Which is what every single one of us is terrified of. What if I am a bad person? So there's a lot of us who live like ostriches. We are going to call these ostrich people. Ostrich people are the people who will put their heads in the sand before even thinking about talking to any of the people inside their head because they are that terrified that they are not good people. A good person has 2 traits. They want to learn and they are committed to doing better, and they absolutely are trying. That is what makes a good person. The people who are committed to learn to be good, and the people who are trying to be good. And that's and, not or and. You have to have both of those. If you lose one of those, they're not a good person because they haven't tried or because they're not doing. So those are your options. Either you're trying and you're doing, or you're half-assing it. And that's really it. So when you start to associate yourself with your other parts and you start to understand what all 7 of you are for, because every one of you has a different role. Every one of you has a different job. Unfortunately, if you are not consciously aware of this position that you have, if you are not consciously aware of your 7 people, what ends up happening is you've turned the machine over to your subconscious mind's logical system, who then decides to run everything by self-preservation, which is usually where fear steps into it because you are afraid because you are not taking control of your mind. That's where all fear comes from. That's it. You are not controlling your mind, not your life. Not the people outside of your life, not your abusers, not your job, not your children. You are not controlling your mind because you don't know what your mind is, because you don't know who is in your mind. You know nothing about your mind. Psychologists don't even know what's going on in your mind. They don't know. As a result, no one is talking to their mind. And we've got some jackass, we're going to call that jackass Mitchell's walking around telling everybody, oh, it's crazy to talk to yourself. Mitchell is an idiot. So we really need to stop listening to Mitchell because Mitchell is an idiot. Mitchell is an ostrich. And Mitchell walks around telling people really stupid shit that's wrong, and it hijacks our Raz. And our Raz goes, okay, we're going to go over there when you should be going over there. Because Mitchell loves to create chaos. Mitchell loves to run everything so he feels in power. Mitchell's an asshole. So we're going to stop listening to Mitchell. We are going to stop listening to the advice that it's crazy if you talk to yourself because, it's healthy if you talk to yourself. Because when you talk to yourself, you have great conversations with yourself. And the best part is when you start talking to yourself, you realize who you are. Imagine that. And then you stop being afraid because you know who you are. Suddenly, the thing that you fear the most, not knowing who you are and whether or not you're a good or bad person, becomes something that you're very familiar with. And the fear of the unknown stops literally being inside of you because you don't unknown yourself anymore. The more you know yourself, the less fear of the unknown you're going to have. So talk to yourself, get to know your people, name them, especially your identity, especially your identity. Like of everyone there, she needs the name the most. Identity really needs her name. I have named my identity. I actually called my identity Angel. I called her Angel when I was like 8 years old. I walk around calling people's naming people's subconscious minds. I've been doing it all my life. So I have been naming mine for a very long time. Identity and I are very good friends. And by the way, all identities are children, all of them. They're like 5 years old. They're 5. That's why I drink milk with a straw, because I'm 5. Because that's identity. Identity is your inner child, but we're not. Yeah, she's not your inner child. She is 5 years old. And she is your identity. She is the play version of you. She is the imagination, your dreams, your wants, your desires. She's the one who goes, I want to go all over the world and be an astronaut at the middle of the center of the earth. And I want to have milkshakes and a unicorn. And then Mitchell the man comes down and says, you can't have that, get in the box. And identity goes, and then identity goes away. Mitchell the man steps in and puts logic in charge. But logic doesn't work without identity, so that falls apart because we need identity to run logic, because where else are we going to go? If we don't have identity going, I want to go there, we're not going to know to go there. So they take identity away. We're told to get in the box. We conform. We're miserable. And then we end up marrying someone we hate. And then after a while, we go, oh my God, this is my life. Where's identity? And then people go, oh, you're having a midlife crisis. I'm not having a midlife crisis. I have identity back. Fuck you all. And then everyone after the midlife crisis, it's great because they got identity back. And all the judging people who don't have their identities go, oh, they went off the deep end after they had their midlife crisis. It's not a midlife crisis. That's Mitchell talk. Stop talking like Mitchell. It's not a midlife crisis. It's called I can't take it anymore, and I have got to get identity out. So this has been an imbroglio. This is my imbroglio. Welcome to my stage. Thank you so much. And may the kindest of words always find you.